Get your ass in the gym. Now.
All right, we're back after a short hiatus to 10 minutes with Anthony. We've got some news for you guys. A lot of stuff happened. And we're at a Lazy Dog again. I kind of like it here, and there's nobody here after hours. So what's new, Anthony?
The water's been really calm after this hurricane passed by, but it's been very, very hot.
Yeah, I think we should mention a bit more about a hurricane for those who are not familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, it just had some rain and stuff here. I mean, there wasn't much, some wind, but I mean, that can happen anytime here. That happens in the middle of the night all the time, these storms. But yeah, I'm back. Of course, I was in Pittsburgh for the North American Bodybuilding Championships, as you were in the Czech Republic for some just seeing family and good times.
So vacation versus hard work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much hard work the actual bodybuilding contest is. It's hard work leading up to it, but it was pretty crazy, man. I got there on last Thursday morning, and it was 58 degrees, which I don't think I've seen sub 70 degree temperatures in 4 years or so. So it was kind of, I was wearing like a tank top. I had to go get my little jacket and put a jacket on. I don't remember the last time I wore a jacket, but all in all, it was a good experience. It's a national show. Could be argued that it's the third biggest show in the nation. I feel like I represented myself pretty well, finishing third in my class. But the elephant in the room and what needs to be addressed is why I'm somewhat being punished, I guess, in my, when I competed last year in the Miami and Palm Beach and stuff.
Oh yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I felt like my conditioning was pretty good and everything, and obviously, I don't ever say what I think. I mean, your friends and family are always going to say that you won, and I'm sure the other guys, their friends and family, say the same thing. And the truth is, my honest to goodness truth is, I have the worst view than anybody, because I'm not in, like you see pictures, and it's very easy to look at pictures online afterwards and say, oh, that guy won or that guy won. But the pictures only show a little bit of the story. The pictures, one guy could be starting his pose while the other guy's in the full pose, and it looks much better. And it's from the only angle that really matters, and the angle that nobody else sees, is that judging box where those judges sit at that angle, and that's the only thing that really matters, and none of us see that.
I actually liked what you wrote. You were kind of defending the judges and everything.
Right.
That was really nice, because it's really easy to just say, oh, judges sucked. That's why whatever. So I kind of like that part.
Yeah, and that's never going to be my way. I'm not going to do that. And like I said, you go out and you look at other guys before you go out. Now, in my mind, every guy I see looks bigger than me anyway. And if I'll see pictures later and I'm like, oh, I was actually bigger than that guy, it's just a weird thing in my mind. So I put that stuff out of my mind. Now I'm out on stage, and these guys are my peripheral. So I'm not looking at them. All I'm seeing is seeing the audience, but the light was so blinding that I couldn't really even see that. So I don't, how would I know? I mean, I'm just looking at pictures just like everybody else. I had the worst view in the arena. I'm up on the stage. I'm not looking at me compared to other people. So, it always comes into play politics. The judges had something against you. And this is how, and this certainly is not the only time I've ever lost. I've lost many times. And if I truly believe that these contests were rigged and the judges had an agenda against me or whatever, then I would have quit a long time ago. I just don't, maybe I'm naive, but I just don't believe that. And I don't know what would be somebody's motivation why a judge would have a motivation to promote this guy over me. I just have to trust that, that's what the deal is. So it's fine. I have no problem with the judging. However, the elephant in the room, which I always ignore,
Or the lack of the elephant.
is what I always ignore, and I just put it to the back of my head. And when people ask me about it, I always kind of brush it off. But the fact is, I had torn my pec in 2016, and it's very evident. Okay, and I mean, you don't have to ever even watch one bodybuilding contest to see when I get up on stage, there's a hole in my chest right here. And that is what it is. Back when it happened, the normal thing is you get it fixed immediately. It's no problem. They go in. It's a complete ruptured. The tendon has come off the humerus bone. They go in and they get it. They screw it back into the humerus bone. Everything heals up. It's fine. At that time, I was at a point in my life that I had just moved to Key West. I had just transferred with FedEx, which is a physical job here. And really, if I would have said, hey, I'm going out on disability, I got to get this fixed, I probably would have lost my job. I didn't know anybody here. They didn't know what kind of job I could do. It would be very easy to say, hey, this guy has gone past this time. He's lost his job here. And they do a thing in FedEx where they would put you in limbo, where you just have to try to catch on somewhere. It could be on anywhere in the country and try to catch on. It really wasn't affecting my quality of life as a normal human being. Obviously, bodybuilding, it does. So, I've gone onward and competed now 4 or 5 times, I guess, since with this injury. And I've finished in second place a couple times in Miami and West Palm Beach, and in third place in this contest. Now, it was told to me by some pretty high-ranking judges that, hey, man, you're always going to get a lower score as long as you have that torn pec. So
It's just like a girl with small boobs.
yeah, I mean, it kind of bothers me a little bit because I almost feel like it's discriminatory, and I don't hate to sound like I'm whining, but I mean, bodybuilding is kind of a thing where you say, okay, listen, you're not in good enough shape, get in better shape, come back next year. Your back's not big enough, go develop your back, come back next year. But something like that, I mean, a lot of times, and I'm certainly not comparing this to the same guy that went to Iraq and got his legs blown off or whatever, and he comes on stage and he's got some prosthetic legs. I'm not comparing me to that guy. But what I'm saying is it's probably not counted against him that he's got prosthetic, to me it's like, so I don't understand if my chest, even though it is deformed, is in better shape than your chest, is leaner than your chest, then I should. But that being said, a lot of people have talked me into this, and I'm going to go ahead and get the surgery. It's no thinking about it, no ands, ifs, or buts. I had some vacation time coming up at the end of October, which I planned on competing in California. I am going to do this. It's going to be difficult because it's been over 3 years since the injury. So it's not going to be as simple as going in and just reconnect. They're not going to be able to reconnect that tendon. That tendon, I'm sure, has dissipated into my blood and has since left my system. So there'll have to be either a cadaver tendon, which I would hope that would help. But if not, they're going to take one from my hamstring, which, not the greatest thing to have done to your legs at my age, and reattach everything. I'll rehab, and I'm going to come back and do these, these national contests, either or all of them, or one. I'll do this North America again if possible, Masters, Nationals, and the Team Universe. Which actually, with this third place finish, I kind of put myself in a rock and a hard place, because when I was preparing for this, I thought of two things. I thought of what would happen if I won, which would make me an IFBB pro and onto that circuit and everything. And what would happen if God help me, I didn't finish in the top 5, because if you don't finish in the top 5, they don't bring you back at night to do your posing routine.
Okay.
So those were the two things I thought about. Boy, I sure would like to win, but geez, I don't want to. I don't want to go and have my night be over at 8:15 in the morning. And I'm done. So that's what I was worried about. I never thought about finishing second or third place. Well, now finishing second or third place, it kind of leaves me at a spot where, I can't. It's really a step back to do state contest or regional contest, because I really don't have anything to gain by it.
Yeah.
So it kind of limits my options to these 3, and that's fine. That gives me 6 months to recover, from the surgery. These are all things that went into my decision. It gives me 6 months to recover, and I feel like I know enough about training and how to train safely and get my body back to where it needs to be, and I'll come in shape, and that'll allow me to pose better, because some of the posing I do, I have to hide. It's limited because I have to hide the hole in my chest, and I could even go back and do some bodybuilding, because a lot of one of the reasons I switched to classic was there wasn't as many bodybuilding poses, and the bodybuilding poses that there are really expose that chest. But I can go back and do some bodybuilding too, which I like to do, and bodybuilding with classic bodybuilding, and that's where I'm at. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm trying to put the wheels in motion. I'm doing a lot of research. I think there's a good guy in Miami that does it at the Cleveland Clinic there, kind of knows what he's doing. He's done a lot of athletes. And then just looking at how I can excel my rehabilitation by using, certain peptides, stem cells, whatever. I don't know much about that stuff, what these things they call SARMs and things like that. That's something that goes on. I don't know much about it, but if it's possible to stem cells in there to kind of speed up the recovery process, I'm all for it. So.
Well, how long do you think it takes? Is it going to take you off work or what?
Well, I don't want that. I mean, that's a big thing, because I certainly have to survive, and I don't want to go, But I think that I know the guys well enough at work that they can kind of protect me a little bit while I get through, Like, I think it's a normal 8 weeks in a sling. So to me, if it's 8 weeks for a normal person, and I'm not joking, I think I can do 2 weeks in a sling and be fine, And one of those weeks would be the week I'm on vacation. So now I gotta kind of sandbag it for a week at work, and maybe just if guys can take heavier boxes for me, and I can deliver the envelopes and things like that just to get by, And then once I'm clear, man, it's I can start lifting and regular. I'll still train legs and everything else to keep my legs up and do a lot of things one-armed, and then and we'll see what happens, and I'll come back stronger than ever, and at these contests, and I have confidence to feel like I can do well, and that's a big thing in bodybuilding, where a lot of it's mental,
Is that surgery covered somehow?
Yeah, I have insurance. I mean, figure it out, I have real good insurance, so I guess I could say it's I have a torn pec. It can be argued that, I don't feel like it's impeding my way of life, but it probably is. I probably don't have the flexibility and lifting boxes and things like that. But
yeah, it's something I think that should be covered. It's not like a cosmetic surgery or anything.
Yeah, I say the tough guy in me, it doesn't really affect me, but it probably does, and it does, and I can tell you, it really affects me in posing, because it throws my balance off. It's like it's hard to explain. It's like my shoulders are supposed to be here, and this one is, but this one drops back. It's like it just always throwing my balance off posing, so I'm always having to adjust to that all the time. And I think that I could pose much better if I was, a little straighter, tightened up,
Yeah, you'll balance on the bridge much better too.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to hang from. I guess I was able to hang from the Cow Key Bridge from, for what that torn. I mean, it's been 3 years, So I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of scar tissue in there. It's gonna have to be cleaned out and everything. But it is what it is, and I think that, I mean, if I wasn't this close, I could just blow it off. But I'm this close, man, and it's just a combination. I'm 51. I feel like I got 4 more good years left, and you might as well get this thing, get it done, and just try to have the best 4 years I can. I really don't feel like I'm 51 anywhere else. I mean, as far as being able to build size and stamina and things like that, I really don't feel that way, I'm sure I look pretty big to you now. And that's another thing too. I want to have this contest rebound, which right now my weight is probably about 215. So I weighed in last week at 188. So I'm now 215. In these next few weeks, try to build as much muscle as I can. So when I go under the knife and I can't lift for a while, I have that muscle to kind of fall back on and give up. But yeah, I mean, it's, so that's it. It was a great experience. I mean, that show was so well run to have that amount of people. And the tanning, that's the first time I ever used that group for the tanning. I still have tanning stuff on me a week. I've never had tanning this late. I mean, tanning looked fantastic. And I really paid little attention. I think we discussed this. I paid little attention to my tanning preparation coming up to that. Usually I used to sit in a tanning bed. I've taken a peptide before to get me darker. This time I didn't do anything, and I had some real bad tan lines. And they took care of all that, and I was dark. I mean, it was perfect. They were coming around while you're waiting to go on. They had people walking around. Let me check your tan. Let me see if you're running. Let me touch you up. They wanted you to look good. I mean, when I got there, I mean, my check-in and weigh-in was like that. I mean, I got there, got a guy with a thing. He's like, you got your posing trunks on underneath? I said, yes. He's like, all right, walk down that way. Somebody comes out, hands me my goodie bag. So I got my goodie bag now. I got onto the thing. They're like, all right, name. Give them my name. They see my name on there, check it off. Bam, here's your number, 174. Go down to this thing. And the next guy's like, strip down. Strip down. They measure you, weigh you. All right, you're this, you're that. See you tomorrow. So I go to my tanning. So that was the check-in, right? That was like 6 o'clock. I go to my tanning. It was like 7 o'clock. I got there way earlier, I mean, So they get me all checked in. They said, "What are you competing in tomorrow?" So I tell them, hey, I'm, prejudgment was 8 o'clock. I tell them what class I'm in. They said, okay, so come in early, get here between 4 and 5 in the morning. So I do my tan, go back to the hotel, get a cheeseburger, I've already cut water. I eat a cheeseburger. I think I got a Wendy's cheeseburger, even though I should have gone and got one at the hotel, would have been better. But, yeah, and I get up in the morning, I'm dry. I go down, you get tan, come back, get Maryland. We go to the arena, and I mean, everything was great, I mean, it was bam, bam, bam. Really well run show, fantastic experience. And I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I was disappointed because I think I had myself talked into. I was listening to a lot of the people. And I had myself talked into, hey, you're going to win this thing. But the fact of the matter is, if way back when I first started in bodybuilding, and you told me I was going to go out in North Americas at 51 and finish third in my class in the North Americas, I would have said, I'll take that deal right now, But we get to a certain level, and then we want more and everything else. So it is, I mean, it's great. I've picked up a lot of followers from it. Some of them even straight. No, I was just kidding.
Finally, yay.
No. And I got some ideas, actually, because Maryland bought me a thing of bands to take backstage, because they said, look, we're not going to have weights back there. If you want to bring bands, bring bands. So I brought a thing, she brought me a whole set of bands. And so I was just doing workouts, kind of practicing to get pumped up. And I thought of a whole housewife special, like a program I can do for the housewife that can't get to the gym. She's got little kids, because diet is the most important thing. And I've thought in my head a whole thing of workouts. So look for that. That's coming. The housewife special. The housewives, or I'm a dude that just can't get into a gym type thing, which is, people live in remote areas and things like that. And it's not feasible to go to a gym sometimes. So I thought about that. But moral of the story was, there was bands everywhere back there. I mean, everywhere I walked, there were bands. Hey, get yourself some bands. So I never really needed to take those out. There were bands everywhere, and I did the most pumping up I think I ever did before I went out on stage, and it was good. It was a very good experience, and I liked Pittsburgh. It was cool. We took a day afterwards and saw some cool things, and ate some cool food there. And as a loyal Puerto Rican, as my significant other Marilyn is, she had to go see the Roberto Clemente Museum, so that's a duty of all Puerto Ricans. She was able to do that, and it was good, man. It was. I'm happy. I'm in a good place, looking. I got a good team around me. Of course, Jan being one of my team members, my guy in California, Jason, and of course my love, Marilyn. And that's all I need, man. I mean, and we'll get this surgery out of the way, and I'll rehab. And I live in paradise. I'm in a beautiful place. I'm trying to work on buying some property up the Keys a little bit. And if I can get that done, then life is grand. We'll see you at the Housewife's Special.
Well, that was all on a positive note. Have you met anybody you wanted to punch in the face in your last couple of weeks?
Yeah. No, the thing is, I haven't really felt the need to punch anybody. I mean, everything's been so positive. Usually I hate the other competitors and things like that, and hate their entourage, but I've just been, I don't know if Marilyn's been giving me some like happy mushrooms or something, putting stuff in my porridge, my cream of rice. But I've just been so happy lately, and I didn't really think about angrily punching people in the face,
And that's all the time we had.
From Lazy Dog, and I'm happy eating happy mushrooms.